me!
Episode 268.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek, giving you the info you need to achieve mega nerd status. NetHeads.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
I don't know why I enjoy doing that every single week. When we do that, oh, hey, look, we can add more people to our call for free. Thanks. That's nice to know.
Thanks, Skype.
Yeah, a little message right there underneath your beard the whole time you were dancing, just for everyone to enjoy. Yeah, your moves are nice, by the way. I gotta say.
I got a good head twitch. I don't know what it's called.
I don't know what I call it the neck quake. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's quaky.
I don't know. Anyway, hi everybody. Welcome to another edition of NetHeads. My name is Will.
I'm Trent.
If you want to take part in the program, Cam, what a maze, what Twitter, Trent, tell them about it.
Oh my gosh, be like Matthew Corey, who's still using the hashtag NetHeads, even though he's at a hockey game. It looks like a Canes game. Not sure who they're playing against, but he's rocking his Tedsdy Town Ants hockey jersey. Be like him. Join in the convo, whether you're here, whether you're listening to the podcast later, or whether you're at a hockey game. Hashtag NetHeads.
Very, very cool. Yes, I fully endorse and accept that message. And also, if you want, you can call us 925-238-9020, 866-610. No, I don't know what it is. Does it really care? 9455.
Call us on Skype.
Yeah, NetHeads on air on Skype. That's the easiest. Sorry, there's so much going on, man. I don't know what to do anymore. It's been so long since we've done this. Plus, I'm also rushed because I got to be honest. I'm flying for business very soon, so
Not pleasure.
No, definitely not. It's for business, and I'm also I'm still trying to understand the order of events, but somehow I'm taking a red-eye flight back east. So
yeah.
The only thing I'm thinking is at some point I thought, well, it'll allow me to utilize the time that I would normally spend sleeping anyway, so I'm not taking anything away from my family.
Right. Or screw up your circadian rhythms either, because you'll be sleepy tired when you get there.
Yeah, definitely. Also, well, wait a minute. Which weekend is the daylight saving time? That didn't already hit it, and I missed it. Did I?
Oh shit! If it did, that would explain the reprimands I've been getting at work this past week.
I don't think that's the case. No, I don't think it's dropped yet, but it's coming. So it's I'm already on and I'm going back east, so I'm already going to be screwed up anyway. So maybe I'm just hoping for a total reset. I don't know.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but I've never flown out of Sacramento Airport, and I'm going to be flying out of there today. Have you ever done Sacramento?
I have flown into Sacramento before, yes.
I can understand that because it's also a college town.
Yep.
So, and we know that you used to do some recruiting in your former lifetime.
I just remember it being a very flat area.
Yes, it is. It's very,
really flat.
Interestingly enough, your observation, I've heard one other person share that about the Sacramento area. Do you know who that person is, Trent?
No.
Sir Patrick Stewart.
Well, I'm in royalty when it comes to companies complaining about the plane of Sacramento.
What the hell happened there, huh? Suddenly it's like, whoa, wait a minute, who? But I do admit, I mean, this is from ages ago, but I attended a Comic-Con in the Sacramento area, and that was one of his observations, is that it was just very, very flat. Nothing around.
Yeah, totally. It feels like you're in the Snake River Plain or you're in Iowa or something. Less corn, but you get the idea.
I do, and I'm looking forward to it because I just know the outer appearance of it, where all the rental cars are. That's the closest I've been so far. Looked very flat in itself. I mean, you literally feel like, wait a minute, am I about to accidentally walk on the tarmac? I'm confused.
Yeah.
But it does provide at least a direct flight to take me all the way from here to Charlotte, and then Charlotte from where I need to go. So basically, I think the way it works out is I'm going to be getting onto a plane at 10:30. And the best of intentions, I'll be asleep by 11, and then I'll have to get up at what should be 3 a.m. my time to hop on another plane at 4:30 my time.
Yeah,
to
which
then,
is really like 8 a.m.
Yeah, and then 8:30 at that point, and then well, no, let's not mess with the times because I'm already 7:30 my time. I take off, and then I get another chance to get another hour in. So that's the way I'm divvying it out. I'm rationing it out, if you will.
So when you come back home, will you have created a flashpoint?
I'm starting to wonder because when I come back home, both days I actually land a different day than when I took off because my flight home is scheduled for 12:01 a.m. to land, which scares the piss out of me because I can't remember. There was a certain movie that Groundhog Day and the concept behind it was, I think, partially inspired by a short movie that was called like 12:10 p.m. or something along those lines. And what happens is that the main character discovers that he is in a time loop. And he always has effectively 1 hour to attempt to affect change to get himself out of this loop.
Out of that loop, sure, yeah.
So, every time the loop resets, he finds himself standing in the middle of the same street where he was crossing the street at that exact moment. So, anyway,
it's a beautiful morning.
Yeah, the whole 12:01 landing time kind of skeezes me out a little bit, but I'll get beyond that. Nobody cares about this. Anyway, the whole point is I told my wife I would come in here and this would be quick. She said, "It's not sex. What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, I'll give it the old college effort anyway, and we'll power on." And so that's if you don't have it in the hips, Trent, you got to have it in the lips.
Whoa, you just kind of like articulated something that I've tried to articulate to people my whole life. Maybe that will help me with my chances now.
There you go. But I can't claim credit because technically that was that I heard it born on the 4th of July is where I heard that one. So
yeah.
So yeah, I can't claim the credit, but I'm doing some. Trent, you used to be a frequent traveler, a man on a journey, and so I have an interesting challenge. So here's the thing: I'm doing the stupid red-eye flight, right? And there's no chance of early check-in where I'm going. So it's basically going to be going airport to the office, right?
Okay.
So my thinking is I'm just going to travel in what's going to be, I'm going to take a shower right before I go in. I'm going to travel in what's going to be essentially tomorrow's clothes.
Yep, exactly.
So that way I may not appear fresh and clean, but I don't look freshly unpacked.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's the best approach then. I'm going with that.
If attire requires a sport coat can cover a lot of wrinkled messiness, and you can take that off during the flight and everything and just throw it on when you're off, and it just improves everything. If it's appropriate. If not, I totally understand.
Dude, do you actually expect me to know when it's appropriate to have a sport coat or not?
Well, a sport coat can be worn in business attire if a tie is not accompanied with a sport coat.
Okay.
For like business casual, yeah.
Okay. Nobody wears ties there.
No, well, you're fine then.
Okay. Well, I wasn't even going to go with the sport coat. I'm just wearing a hoodie because I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
That's just me. I'm not trying to cover anything.
You're lucky. Traveling in nice clothes is the worst.
And that's what I'm going to do. But I do have the TSA pre-check now. So
oh, nice.
So I can just come strolling up, and I get to keep all my clothing on, and they don't ask me to pull anything out of my bag. Like on my last trip, I was waiting for my TSA pre-check to come in. I just went to Arizona last week, which was fun because I capped off the beginning of that trip with pretty much a sinus infection-ish kind of world, and then that graduated into an ear infection. So I actually went to urgent care in Arizona, and that's part of the reason why when it came to last week, I was just like, no.
And nothing's worse than like having a drastic change, like miles into the air change to really mess with like your sinuses and your ears.
It's funny you do bring that up. I always attribute something to something else that happened. When I was a kid, they did some type of test on me where they put basically like oxygen either just over my nose or over my nose and mouth, and they just asked me to say the letter K. And when they did that, my entire world exploded, and it was pain like I couldn't imagine, and I was outraged. What I've learned is, since that time, that moment, I can do the same thing that divers do, and that's that I think it's called the eustachian tube. I just have the ability to kind of flex those open or closed a little more, or to balance the pressure on them. Yeah, I can make that pop happen. Is that what you're trying to do right now, or are you waiting for someone to walk in? I'm confused.
That's what I was trying to do. But I remember as a kid, though, like, my folks would always make sure they had gum for me to chew, because that will also help like exercise those muscles, because as a little kid, that's you don't know what's going on. It's freaking you out.
Yeah, definitely. So I at least don't have that going on. And of all the stupid things, you're going to love, I don't even know if you're going to love this, but I'm going to tell you anyway.
Okay.
Because my wife, rightfully so, I think, thought I was crazy. But after I had the ear condition for a week and a half, while also having to double up on meds because of another infection that was getting treated. No, not sexual. Don't be that way. But I was on 2 different antibiotics at once. And yeah, we should be so lucky, right? Wait, no, that's wrong. Completely wrong.
Yeah. No.
That's why you didn't go with it. I'm sorry. Anyway.
Yeah.
So this doctor I talked to on one of those like MD Live type things where, you're basically having a video conference with a doctor who's probably taking the day off from the hospital and logging into Uber their way through a few extra patients, if you will.
Yeah.
And she told me, okay, well, you're almost done with that antibiotic, but it's good. But now try and cut out dairy, cut out bread and rice, and eat, what did she say? Lots of bone broth or soup made from bones, so bone broth.
Okay,
and
yeah.
all this jazz. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, lady, but okay. So I did a little research. It leads to Friday night, I'm showing up home from the grocery store with 4.5 pounds of drumsticks.
Yes.
And not to mention like a half pound of thigh and a half pound of boneless breast sitting off to the side. But literally all that happened with all of that, all those drumsticks, you think, oh boy, break out the barbecue sauce, fire up the grill, we got a party going on.
Nope.
No, I just pressure cooked the heck out of that stuff and made the bone broth. And I got to tell you, after making the chicken soup that I did, they had me use something I've never heard of this before. It's called farro, Farro. It's I think it's a type of like a barley or that type of thing.
Yes, it's not far off from like couscous.
Gesundheit.
Yeah, the food's so nice they named it twice.
Exactly. So it had that in it, and then it had carrots, onions, and all that. Little turmeric powder. I don't know how much. It's a spice. It's orange,
sure.
But very easily stains things, but very tasty. But I gotta say, I thought it was crap. But like from late Friday night, because naturally after all that cooking, you got to try it, until yesterday's dinner. All I was having was this chicken soup that I made, and I'll be goddamned if I didn't wake up feeling amazing today.
Way better, huh?
Yeah, and all that time ago when I was like walking around the house like a maniac, claiming the broth is life. Guess what? I'm right. I was
the
just
broth must flow.
I know. I was just like I was treating it like it was this, like I'm preaching the thing. But truly, I mean, it's like, and they're very clear on it too. When you look up bone broth, they're like, no, you want to make sure that those bones are dry and brittle because you've extracted everything out of them. And boy, that doesn't sound creepy when you're thinking about I'm going to eat this later. I'll tell you that.
But I mean, when the crazy thing is though, drumsticks are surprisingly affordable.
Exactly. That's why I grabbed them.
It's crazy. They've actually got quite a bit of meat on them. Easy to debone on say like a breast, that's still got the bone on it. and pretty affordable, especially when you're comparing it to like boneless, skinless man breasts. Woo, way cheaper.
Oh yeah, and it's a dark meat, so a little higher in fat, but boy, is it going to taste better.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So this morning, though, there was still some of the chicken broth left in the refrigerator, and I didn't want this stuff like laying around the whole time I'm gone, because I'm not coming back until technically Friday, very early morning. And so I decided, well, what could I do with it? And I start spontaneous thinking, okay, well, we have pico de gallo from last night. You know what? I'll do an egg drop soup. I'll just use onion and carrot and some cilantro and some of that pico de gallo, and I'll be goddamned if that didn't taste good too, Trent. So I'm all prepped and ready to get on those giant, disgusting, recirculated air disease tubes we call airplanes.
They really are, man. And oh gosh, it is. Oh, every time you get on them, there's always someone hacking and gagging and coughing and spitting. It's never safe.
How many times do I have to apologize to you for that? How many? God damn you. So anyway, Trent, we can't not talk about something that happened last week.
We need to address this.
So let me try and put it into in a way. Oh, by the way, also before we do get into that, I got to tell you though, I have been investigating the best way to keep your clothing wrinkle free. I don't know if you've heard of this, but I am going to be trying the bundle method.
What's
this
the bundle method?
It's actually very simple. You start. Just think of a big square that or a table you're laying your clothes out. You put your most tailored item down first, and then you go from most to least. So once you get beyond like anything like your fancy aforementioned sport coat, you can start laying down your shirts and your pants alternating between the two. And what they do is they have you always kind of go a little bit over the mirror image of the last item. So like if you lay your sport coat down this way, then with the collar in, then the next shirt's going to come over that, but it's going to lay down so its shoulders are kind of over the other shoulders and going the opposite way. So now we've got two of those. And your shirts are going to stack that way, alternating, and your pants go along the horizontal, if you will, in this XY I've established. Then you have to have a core bundle that goes in the middle, which of course is going to be your socks, underwear, and all your other unmentionables. So that way there's something to form, and then you just literally start folding each layer over that, making sure to flatten out any gather. And the idea is it reduces the potential of any friction, and it's not getting folded, it's getting stretched. So
right, yeah.
Now, of course, the whole point is now that I am flying, or now that we know I'm going to be just wearing what I'm wearing for tomorrow, then really doesn't matter. I'm just going to throw all the shit in a bag now because I'll be able to press something out tomorrow night.
Surprisingly, what doesn't travel well for luggage? Garbage bags.
Okay, I'm intrigued. I think.
Yeah, just because they get torn open in the luggage compartment and by the handlers and stuff. Just saying.
Oh, the reason why, Trent, is generally those are for putting in and disposing of garbage, not actually using as a garment receptacle.
Huh. Who'd have thought?
Just saying. I mean, I know when you buy that 25-foot roll of duct tape, you figure ain't no way this sumbitch gonna open till I get home.
That's what you think.
Yeah.
Oh, it's almost like they're just waiting for those things to tear into.
Still not the same as a regular case, though. I'm just saying.
Okay.
By the way, though, I am attempting to condense 4 days worth of clothing down into one rollaway and one backpack, so that way I'm purely carry-on.
Oh, okay.
Which is smart, but I have to say that I am one of those people that has a CPAP, so constant positive air pressure keeps me breathing well at night. And that sumbitch, when it's packed up, is like two hardcover novels back to back, maybe 4 of them, maybe. It's just takes up a bit of space. So today I'm going to experiment and put that in the backpack, but I got to make all the clothes fit in there. And then I had an epiphany. Because Monday night when I get there, I'm going to be shot, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Tuesday night, it's still going to be recovery mode. Everybody can kiss off. So, if I bring, I'm flying, I'm wearing what I'm I'm wearing tonight what I'm wearing tomorrow, essentially. God, sounds gross. But then I have to have an outfit for the next day, right?
Right.
After that, the hotel has a laundry, so I can wash day 1 and day 2.
Yes.
And then I've got day 3 and day 4 done.
Yeah, you're good to go at that point. Yeah.
Right? And look at how much. And now I just cut my wardrobe in half. What's that? Like I'm making savings, or it's fruit ninjing.
You're a ninja.
No, I don't think you're allowed to say that.
Okay, whatever.
By the way, though, I did discover that I needed to get an extra pair of pants, and I have to say that in my travelings now through the online garment areas, I definitely am more and more intrigued into getting a pair of Dickies overalls.
Dude.
Every
Yes.
time I see you sitting on the other side, I'm like, that just seems freaking practical for almost everything.
It really is. I mean, it's and so much more socially acceptable, in my opinion, than sweatpants, and practical, and like I don't feel as bad wearing them in public. I think it's a win-win.
Yeah, and all you got to do, like after you go by your buddy's house who really does stuff, just grab like a mason jar full of sawdust.
Yep.
And before you go out, just throw some on you. They think you're on a project.
Yep.
Heck, you could just toss a little in your beard for character, right?
Yeah. Oh, if it's not there already for completely unrelated reasons.
Yeah, exactly. So you could have the whole thing dialed in, man. I think that's a good idea. I'm with you. You sir, you're an innovator, is what you are. That's you right there.
I'm just lazy.
Even though I think my sawdust ideas, I can send you some sawdust if you want. You want me to send you some sawdust?
I think I could probably make some of my own. I got some wood.
There you go, man. That's what I've heard. Anyway, okay, so let's now talk about the not funny. Only because I think in a way it may be good to talk about how we react to these things, because
Yes.
one, because thankfully we're in a much different realm than I thought we would be.
Yeah.
And let me equate it to something far more far worse, so that way you understand that you either understand or you have you think I have no comprehension of the severity of one versus the other. But allow me to say it anyway. When it came to some of the most pivotal news of our time, I think all of us, we can remember where we are or what happened. One event would be 9/11. For me,
Sure.
I was what we would have called later fun employed. And I remember my wife coming in. Naturally, I'm asleep because I'm fun employed. And she asks me, "Are we at war?" I said, "What?" She turns on the TV, and I see the imagery of the plane hitting Tower 1 or Tower, whichever one of the towers. And I remembered, my first thought at that moment is, I don't believe this, because I've never seen something like this in reality. So this can't be real. I'm seeing doctored footage of something. This is
Right. Yeah. It's a completely surreal image.
Yeah. So I'm not saying that to bring up the horror of that day, and nor am I saying that one event compares to the other. But it's interesting that some of the most impactful news has come from my wife asking me. Now, typically, I will start my day by grabbing my phone. We all know where I go. Let's not get into that. But I grab my phone, typical day, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if anybody messaged me. Then I'm going to hit, then it's a toss-up between Twitter and the news. So, like, which way do I want to feel, better or worse?
Right.
If I'm in a depressed mood, fuck it, let's go all in with the news.
Yeah.
So, but that morning I was rushed, so I had neither nor. And I was working, and, in my work situation, I'm able to get messages on a machine as well, and it just pops up. Kevin had a heart attack? And instantly, first my panic mode kicked in.
Yeah.
Much in the same way I'm sure you did. And there are people that I know that actually caught, because naturally, Kevin being Kevin, the moment that things seemed okay, and somebody gave him his phone back, he tweets an image, or he Instagrams an image from the hospital bed.
Yeah.
Which okay, well, first of all, that's where I was. Where were you?
Yeah, so I had just woken up and was getting ready for work, and my roommate came out of his room and said, "So I guess Kevin Smith had a heart attack last night." So very similar, just like, I'm like, what?
Yeah, and it's just like, wow, I thought I would know. And then, so then we see there's the tweet, and then there's, I think the one thing that I actually enjoyed after the fact out of the entire experience was literally seeing at least the Twitterverse explode with support.
Yes,
for somebody that we all enjoy and are entertained by. Let's just put it that way. And that was great and amazing to see. And some of it on Facebook as well. And then best of all, knowing that the guy got to see these things himself, because
exactly, yes.
It kind of gives you that view, and because you always wonder,
Yep.
He got to have a George Bailey moment. There you go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Perfect.
There you go. It really is. I guess you had a wonderful life. Well, thanks, Clarence. I would have preferred nobody having to shave my groin for it, but message well received. So that all transpired, and I think we didn't expect to hear anything. We all paused. We all took a breath. And then I think Ralph tweeted out a message that, Kevin was doing well. And and I don't want to confuse anyone. And I think I try and represent this as best as I can at all times. I don't want there to be any misconception. I'm a little less on the periphery maybe than a typical fan, but I'm not like inner circle. It's not like, I know everything that's going on. I serve a function. I am a cog.
You're an employee.
I'm a cog with a purpose, and I cog away. So I don't expect to hear anything, and I don't expect to get anything. But there was a phone call later on the day, and we just talked about some things. And at one point there was an apology, and I'm like, it's okay. I'm 300 and some odd miles away.
Totally.
I mean, So it was nice that I did have a little extra purveyance into things, or purview, or I don't know. I had some insight, just a little bit, but at the same time, it really didn't change anything. And again, we can only talk about our own personal experiences, and that's the only reason why I bring this up. And this is in no way one of those look at me cries, but it was a common experience that I think people that listen to this podcast, we all share, and I think that there are people that just want to talk about these things, or they want to hear. Well, I know that like when there's big news, there are certain entertainers you want to hear their take on it. Not that I'm comparing us to them, but it just goes to show that through this medium and this experience, it really is a communal thing. So,
well, and you shared, you and I talked a little bit about it, as we were learning more about everything, and heart disease is a pretty big deal. And you in particular have had family members that have had to go through those struggles. So this is hitting pretty close to like your own personal experiences in another way.
Yeah, my dad, he had I don't know what any of those parts are, and you'd think after having multiple experiences with it, but there was a point where my dad had was it an embolism on the major aorta, and that burst. So, heart disease there, and then later on in life, his carotid arteries were clogged, which ended up leading to a mini stroke. And so, a lot of the cardiovascular stuff is close to home for me. One of the guys that I really looked up to that kind of got me into the realm of entertainment that we're on. I don't know what is below double Z grade, but I'm happy to occupy the place we have. But the guy that really made me think that I could do that introduced me to a guy who additionally not only made me think I could do that, but was willing to pay me to do it. And that guy was Paul Montgomery. And that was the exact same thing, where it's just like one day you come in and just out of the blue, so this happened last night.
Yeah.
So the reason why I put it this way is because usually these things don't have a happy ending when they come around, at least in my life, okay?
Right.
And so for me, too, it was a very welcome experience that this was happening to this particular individual as well, because it is somebody that I look forward to, working with and getting to experience some things with because of. And he's, in general, also a very humble, nice guy who knows where he comes from. And I think the other thing, too, and this may be the reason, at least for me, I think it's always the main attractor of Kevin Smith, is really he's the embodiment he's the embodiment of what we all have the potential of becoming. And because if you think about it, he got a break doing one thing. And Clerks was never supposed to be a movie. It was supposed to be a calling card film. That's the way I've heard it described.
Right.
And then he went through his filmmaking phase, and then he moved on, not necessarily moved on, but started to do something else.
Yeah, just shifted in another direction.
Yeah, a pivot, if you will, and started doing podcasts and started and doing more Q&As and everything else. And the important thing is the guy found a way to do what we all want anyway. And mind you, he did this in the YouTube era where he is outside of the demographic of who the people that could do this on YouTube. Let's just say, theoretically.
Agreed. Totally, yeah.
And the fact in this day and age that he's still able to do it is amazing. And that's that he's gotten paid to be himself.
Yep.
And people value who he is for his insight, his outlook. And lately, too, like these last... Look, I'm going to... if I may diverge one more moment. Before there was really the strong potential of anything going on, Kevin was doing an appearance in San Francisco. I can't even remember the theater right now because now we're starting down ways and my mind's firing a million miles in different directions a minute. Right. But I went to go see him at this theater. Later on, I would see the backstage of it. That was cool, but not during this show. And I was sitting in the audience, and just as an audience member, mind you, and just as a fan, I'm there with my wife. Wonderful visit. It was a great time. We got to see other people. But when he's up there, he was telling a story that may be on other medium now, but it's not really a part of the repertoire, if you will, not the current stuff he talks about.
That's out there, yeah.
But he was talking about how when he was kind of going through the lowest of low and pains from the Zach and Miri experience. And in that, he ended up watching the beautiful documentary of the history of hockey. And then, and then transcended from that into the stories of not Wayne Gretzky, but his dad, and the fact that this man documented so much and then had a stroke and had to relearn all of this glory and all these moments that his son achieved.
Yeah.
And it was that story, and it was kind of the whole don't be where the puck is, be where the puck is going.
Right.
There was something in that moment, and I don't know what it was, but it sparked a different type of inspiration in me, something I had been missing for a while. And I directly attribute that moment of that Q&A and that speech to a moment that really did change my life. That's when I got more, I don't want to say aggressive for the things I wanted, but I focused more on them. And I balanced putting my energy more into things that I knew would net a more creative or positive outcome. And we're talking about a guy that shot a black and white film at a convenience store.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
But that's the thing. He, in many different ways, he really has become this avatar, if you will, for an entire subculture of the film appreciator, the comic book nerd, and everything else. So, but my point about all this, Trent, was after things transpired, I've made it very clear that I've got this column on TweetDeck that just follows Kevin Smith mentions, because if something's busted,
I do too, actually.
and it's not even like the things that Kevin says. This is people talking about or to Kevin Smith.
Yep, exactly.
Right now, it's behaving like any other news feed.
Yep. Oh, yeah, like nonstop. Just boom, boom, boom. Stuff's going through.
But in the 48 hours after that happened, I literally think it was on the verge of crashing. It was flowing it was like a constant river of streaming, nothing but positivity and retweets and love. And you're like, God damn. And then I think the one part, and I'm sorry, I'll give you the floor in a moment, Trent, but the one part that I look forward to hearing the story of the most, I want to know if Kevin learned on his own or somebody had to tell him that people were picking on Star-Lord for wishing him well and prayers.
Yeah.
Because, the guy just have a heart attack. Now I'd be worried about them giving him a broken heart,
Right. Yeah, totally.
Because, it just goes to show that the world is nuts, dude. It's just completely nuts. When the James Gunn has to stand up for Chris Pratt because he was giving Kevin Smith thoughts and prayers, it's like, maybe that was the problem. It's like a trigger term now. I don't know.
Yeah.
So what's your take on what happened in the aftermath, man? I kind of grandstanded and went on all about my crap. But what about you?
So much, dude. Like we've often talked about the importance, I think, of Kevin's candor in his interaction, ever since 97 or whatever, when he started the message board. Like he's been very honest with people, and so I felt like this. It's kind of shocking, right, to see a hero in a hospital bed. Do you know what I mean? Like that's hard to interpret because, especially from like the sheer fan perspective, like this isn't a real human being, right? This is Superman, right? And so when you see your heroes get beat up and then to have that relate to you in near real time, that's a real big shakeup. And for me, I honestly have kind of taken like a huge evaluation of what I'm doing with my life through what he's gone through, changes in taking care of my own health and making sure I'm doing things that make me happy, like you were talking about. And I'm glad that selfishly, I'm glad that he's been keeping everyone updated and talking about it. Because there's nothing worse than being concerned for someone and not being able to do something. It's almost as bad when you're being concerned for someone and not knowing what's going on, And so I feel like he's done a huge service for everyone that does care about him by keeping us updated and letting us know what's going on, and by being frank about it too. Seriously, he's the man.
I think the other thing that's cool too, when you get to sit back and you look at everything, at least from the Twitter perspective, and I don't mean to minimize like our good friends over on the World of Kevin Smith Facebook group. I have to admit that my tolerance and my use and tolerance of Facebook is greatly diminished. I find it very.
Use it now.
Yeah, it's very ineffectual for me as a communication tool or an information tool.
It's the new YouTube comment section.
Pretty much. So that's genius, man. Thank you for that. I'm gonna repurpose that one several times this week to talk about how something's outmoded as shit. Anyway, so what I'll do is God, now I forgot what I was talking about. That was good. That was really good.
Yeah, just talking about the seeing things through Twitter and Facebook stuff.
Yeah, so I don't mean to minimize that, but the Twitter experience, the other amazing thing wasn't just the amount of people coming forth, but I think also it was seeing, and this part's important because I think deep down inside, And I'm sure those that are willing to join in on the catharsis will agree. I think everyone that's driven to be an entertainer is a person that is probably most terrified of their own mortality, and that's part of what we're driven by, because we want to be remembered. And that's why the movie Coco from Disney's Pixar will screw you up, brother, because it's basically all of that. In its depiction of the afterlife. It's like, your family has to have your picture up so they can visit you, but also, you get to live in this afterlife in this land of the dead because people are telling the tales about you still and keeping your memory alive. So, and that really, to me, is like, that's part of the creator's quest, is we want to be, in some ways, a Michelangelo. We want something to defy that which mankind is defined by, which is our mortality, that life must come to an end. So, in that sense, it's amazing to see, in the spirit of We Are Groot, it's amazing to see how far the roots of Kevin Smith spread and how many different gardens they reach.
Yes.
Because a comedian I once know made a distinct point. He said the important part to not looking ridiculous on camera is realizing when you're starting to cry, stop talking.
Because it's only going to get worse. It's going to be furthered.
Yeah, so for those of you listening to this as a podcast, that is why we had that moment of silence and appreciation. But if you look at the reach that he had, it went across mediums, it went across generations, in a way that I never would have thought about or saw. So much so that even Mark Hamill signed off with the moniker of cock blocker.
Yes.
Stan Lee saying, "Leave the jokes to me." Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I think in the end, you're right. This is one of those things where, if we want to not quite lift him to the height of deity, but if we do want to say, okay, well, he's a representative of, he's our avatar in the Oasis, if you will, then this is quite possibly one of those learning moments where we just need to realize, okay, we know why this shock was. So now what can we learn from it? Well, we can learn from it is, we need to own our own health. We need to, there's a reason why, if you can afford them, we have regular checkups and preventative maintenance under most health coverage plans is covered 100%. So an annual exam, regardless of who your health insurance provider is, or even if you're on Medicaid or Medicare, you can get this done for free every year. So it's important for us to own our health, like explicitly comparing this. I've already talked about my dad with aorta and carotid arteries, and I've been on statins for 2 decades now because I've got genetically screwed cholesterol. So, should I really be pushing the weight I'm pushing? God, no. And should I probably get a little extra testing here and there now? Probably. And it's because if nothing else, even in my own life, I don't want my daughters to have to experience the loss of either of their parents anytime sooner than they have to. And that means it's part of my responsibility to make sure I'm doing everything I can to belay that as well.
Right. Says
the guy getting on a unnatural object going up in the air tonight.
Well, it's this weird, I don't know if you're like me, but there's a weird comfort in not knowing. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like and I'm talking about your health as far as like, sometimes like when I know I have something that I need to go to the doctor about, if I don't go, then there's still a chance, right? Then there's this weird comfort of not knowing, but really that's just chicken shit, because you need to go and get it and get it taken care of. Putting it off might feel good in the moment, rather than, it's like putting a bill to the side and not paying it because you don't want to think about it right now. But confronting it and getting on top of it is really going to add to, the long-term happiness.
Yeah, that's the rub. Because you want to, and there are other things too, especially people like me. Let me just put it that way. Regardless of skin tone, people. Let's just say people like me.
Sure. Yeah.
There is definitely more drive not to see a physician, because what's the first thing they want you to do once they get you through that magic door?
Yeah, it's get on the scale, buddy.
Fuck. Dude.
Get on the scale. Let's see where you're at compared to where you were last time.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Let's
check your blood pressure. Woo, a little high today.
Yeah, maybe that's because you made me just show you how fat I am. Maybe you think maybe I'm worked up about that, huh? Maybe I don't like that, huh?
The day after Valentine's Day, I drank myself to sleep, okay? That's why it's high. Leave me alone. True story.
Commenting for a friend.
Yeah, that's a joke I heard once.
Oh, sweet Lord in heaven, that was beautiful. But yeah, that's. I will tell you though. I mentioned that I did the video conference thing with a doctor. Strange, especially when you can tell. Oh, look, I'll tell you everything I need to know about this physician, Trent, because here's what I saw. If I just turned my camera 90 degrees, maybe 90 degrees, and I were sitting here and there was nothing behind me, you would see what I saw, which is a doorway, really nice, fresh, new looking carpet, and closed slider closet doors. So this is what happened. Doctor bought a new house. So she set up her computer in her new home office that she has nothing furnished in, and now she's dialing in to dispute medical or to distribute medical advice remotely. For the amazing low. I mean, if you think about it too, for what I pay, and we were off, and we were off in 5 minutes, man. I mean, I mean, we were off the phone call. I don't want to be clear; it wasn't that kind of service. But anyway.
We should be so lucky.
Anyway, yeah. So I'm telling you, though, I mean, this is just literally, it's them Ubering medical service is really what it is. But when I had that video conference, I mean, that was part of the reason why I did it. Like, she's not going to, I'll be able to put down what my weight is, and that's that. I don't have to, sure, she's going to look at it, but it's not like I have to do it in front of anybody now. But the other thing I loved is when you were putting in, like, other existing conditions. One of them literally was called lab coat hypertension. So that's that your blood pressure always goes up when you're around doctors.
Totally. Why wouldn't it? I'm about ready to get poked with a goddamn needle. Of course I'm gonna my pressure's gonna be elevated.
Of course I'm gonna be worked up. Of course I'm gonna be pissed. Oh man. But anyway, the whole point is we all really do need to own our health, and just like. Look at it this way. Odds are, okay, if you're like me, then odds are you can't use this comparison, so don't be like me.
Okay.
But I would hope that most people take better care of their cars than... No, okay, hold on. I don't hope most people do this. What I'm saying is I hope they're not like me, because the saying is you take better car, Trent, or you take better care of your car, Trent, than you do your body. Or like for you, I could probably get away with saying you take better care of your motorcycle than you do your body.
I take better care of my dog than I do my own body.
Yeah, see, exactly. And what that means is that we're not doing the job completely. If you look, a car, the maximum time you're probably going to want to spend it is 5 years. And how much do you put into care and maintenance on that? Okay. Now, your body, theoretically, you're genetically encoded to potentially have up to 120 years.
Yeah.
So if you don't think putting in the regular maintenance on that, either way, you're going to be paying when the bill comes due, folks. It's
totally
one way or the other. So
that's a good way to look at it.
So that's what I'm taking away from this, as I sit here about ready to go fly. I always love the fact of flying out of town because, I mean, it's like almost impossible to maintain healthy eating habits because...
So hard.
Or more to the point, it's not that it's so much extra work, Trent, to have good eating habits.
Yep.
But I will say the past couple times I've traveled, when I've had those sweets, then I will at least, like, I'll grab eggs and spinach, and I'll make, like, eggs and spinach for breakfast. I know that sounds disgusting. This morning, though, I ended up turning that soup into, like, an egg drop soup. So I just dropped some eggs in there, and it came out well. I was just trying to give myself everything I could because, later on I'm just going to start pounding those gummy vitamins like M&Ms before I get on the plane.
You'll be getting Cinnabon at your arriving airport.
Oh God, yeah, exactly. It's oh gosh. Thank God I found a Jamba. Oh, you realize how much sugar are in those? Shut up, let me believe something. Let me have some joy.
Yeah, well, it's funny. The day we got the news of everything, right after work, I just went straight to the grocery store and loaded up in the produce aisle, and I'm now a full week into a much I wouldn't call it a healthy diet, but a diet with a lot more vegetables in it, and maybe it's placebo effect, but I'm feeling a little better than I have.
I ate half a chicken.
Sure.
I'm not gonna lie. I ate half a chicken. Then
tomato.
Then the next night, I made albondigas, which is a beef and chorizo combined meatball soup. So you've got.
I love chorizo so much.
Oh yeah. It's what I think I even texted you. I mean, it's like, here we're talking about healthy eating. I'm like, I can't find the chorizo.
Yeah, where's the chorizo?
I can't find it.
Tienda to pick that up.
That's what happens when you're Will's friend, by the way. You suddenly get text messages out of nowhere. Only because in the back of my mind, I'm so frustrated when I can't find it in the grocery store, and I think, well, Trent's dad was a grocer. I can't find the fucking chorizo. Not that I'm expecting you to give me an answer, but at least you're one person I could vent to about it, you know?
Yeah, and yeah.
Not that it's earned or deserved or anything else. So yeah, just realize it, folks. This is something that we've got to take care of. We've got to take care of it on our own. Nobody else is going to help us with it. So, and it doesn't have to be all at once. Because, I'm the same way, man. I'm just like everybody else. I get the people that need a gym membership don't want to get a gym membership because we don't want to see people at the gym.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Because, I don't want, oh, look, look, Beluga's coming in. Do you think he's going to get on the elliptical today? No, I don't want that. Not that I'm thinking, look, am I speaking too much to my inner truth? Am I judging people, and that's what I'm actually conveying when I say this?
No, I think that's a fear we all have of going to the gym because at least I think in the culture we live in now, it's very common for people to take a selfie in a mirror after their workout when they look good in their workout clothes. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
And we see so much of that. At least I do. With the my extremely not close broad circle of social media, that I feel like those are the time, whether they're doing it or not, it's our own insecurities that keep us from going there because we don't fit that archetype, right? We aren't that we don't look like that, and that's who we see at the gym. So we don't want to be the outlier.
Exactly. Don't lie on my outer. Wait, what?
Right. Any outer. I don't know.
You brought something up, Trent, and so I hope you don't mind if we pivot away from this for just a moment, if not completely forever and ever. But God, I really do. I just look like a big potato with headphones, don't I? Just because I'm sitting in a black shirt in a black chair in a dark room.
You just kind of disappear.
I look like I'm growing out of the darkness. Yes, tell me all about the health, sir. Please tell me how I can unlock the secrets of health. You look like what happened when albino meat fell in a sausage factory. That's what you look like. Sorry. You brought up something else, though, in this day and age in social media, because, of course, naturally things have been just, Kevin has since blown up social media. I don't know for a fact or not, but I'm more than convinced I don't think he actually has a publicity agent anymore, or he doesn't have PR at all. I think he's his own PR. Which again, that's a big testimony to him. But you brought up something else about social media, and it's I think in the last time we got together. By the way, too, I have to give either the whole internet bubble thing is really, really true and really, really good, or our audience members are very tuned in to our commentary, because I've been on Twitter doing a lot of gun-oriented rhetoric. Let's just put it that way.
Uh-huh.
And to date, the only thing I had seen, I haven't looked on any comments on any videos or anything, but to date, only saw one thing from one person on Twitter, and it was a reasonable comment. It really was.
Yeah.
And I just simply said, I'm not here to debate. Those guys need to debate and fix something.
Right.
So I just got to say thanks to the audience for, or there's no audience, Trent. Don't worry, we're not pissing anyone off. It's one way or the other. So it's
Either or, it's the win.
As you said moments ago, tomato.
Tomato. Yeah. Tomato.
I've been using that one everywhere. Thank you for that too. Pretty soon, I'm just gonna sprout the beard and get the hat and get
Feels
the
good.
get the
Embrace
overalls.
the overalls, baby.
Yeah,
Yes.
all right, good. You're with me. No, what I was gonna say is the one thing though in watching this, because since the Parkland shooting, we're seeing something that we to date haven't seen. And that is that the conversation is actually still continuing. I don't know why. Don't do that with your mic. You'll go blind.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Anyway, we're seeing something that we haven't seen, which is the conversation continuing. And I attribute it to the kids from Parkland that are keeping it alive.
Yep.
And here's the thing too that I realized, because the thing is, they look shockingly well on camera, and they handle themselves incredibly well. And again, lesson learned from Kevin Smith. If you've heard any of his talks about yoga hosers, then one of the things that he brings up in the conversation is how these girls who they've been around Hollywood, but they're not actresses. They're so well informed to do what to do in front of the camera, because we are the in front of the camera generation now.
Yeah.
People on YouTube trying to keep up with them darn Kardashians and all that stuff. We have the most media savvy youth we ever have, and that's the reason why these kids are coming across so well on social media, because one, they know what to do on social media, and they know how to behave in front of a camera. You're just shaking. He's like, yep, you said it all, Will. I'm done.
It is. Yeah, that's exactly it.
But that's the thing that blows my mind, because, I mean, if we've already seen social media first impact the way we vote, and now we're seeing how the youth are able to use social media to enact change, I mean, what the hell is going to happen in the future, Trent? That's what I want to know, because, like, it's just, and what's going to, and by the way, too, I just got to say this. There was some like new social media thing that sprung up, and out of habit, I just signed up for it. I just realized, though, I didn't read the terms. I don't know anything about it.
Right. Yeah,
Why did I sign up for this?
Yeah.
You know? Who did I just give access to my contacts?
Early adopter, you know? You want to be on the front row.
Yeah, definitely. I do. It will, and sometimes it's cool. Other times it's scary. I don't even remember the name of it, but anyway, it wasn't Ello. I remember that one too. But it's funny.
That would take quickly.
Well, you know, my whole thing about it is just with everything that's gone on and the way that we've seen that Russia attempted to use social media to enhance tensions between political parties and people supporting those political parties. You know, I realize that we really do have to have a higher level of scrutiny with almost every piece of software or media now that we use, because you never, and you know, well, I can't speak about something, but let me just say that there have been indications for a long time, for example, that you absolutely positively shouldn't use Kaspersky for the for your AV. Let me just put it that way. And now I think that's happened. By the way, too, I don't know if I told you this last time, but you remember my back when I got on Project 5 from Google?
Yeah, I do.
I had their it was some type of I can't remember the name of the phone, but it was a 6, okay?
The Nexus?
I think I had a 6P. The Nexus 6P or Nexus 6 Plus, or it was bigger.
Yeah.
Guess who made that phone, Trent?
Motorola?
I don't know how to pronounce the name properly, so I'm just going to say it's like Huawei.
Oh,
something
yes.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know that recently, I think one part of the government, of the devices that are banned by the government for government use and what they're recommended to the public are not to use because they may be connected to the Chinese government. Guess which one of them is?
Yeah. Wait.
I'm fucked.
They're actually
I'm fucked,
they're like
dude.
one of the biggest cell phone manufacturers, or at least used in Australia.
You know, I'm not meaning to sound like Alex Jones or the New Turks or whoever you listen to watch on social media.
What other side of the same coin you're on?
Yeah, I'm not trying to say bring up crazy stuff, but at the baseline, and mind you, here's the terrifying part. Information security is part of my day gig. So, really me having this epiphany this late in the game, not a good sign. But in all seriousness, we really do need to look at all of these services that we use and all the things that we're giving away and when something new comes along, we really should look at it underneath a microscope to make sure it's safe.
Totally.
And the thing is, this is actually not new news. This is old news because we've had this type of thing around before. This has been you've got everything involved with all the different types of malicious malware that have spread throughout the internet, whether you were trying to look at naughty pictures. What was the one? Anna Kournikova, I think, was one of the big ones.
Oh, really? I don't know.
Oh, back in the day. Sorry, I'm.
Yeah. Back in like the early aughts, yeah, it totally was.
Yeah, or whether you were doing that or you were trying to load a cracked piece of software, or or just somebody was just forwarding something to you, and then you ran the executable and you became their bitch. That's the way it happens. Yep. I'm saying these epiphanies shouldn't be coming to me now because they really are an industry standard. But that's the thing. People are too fast and loose with information in this day and age.
Totally.
And I literally saw because my primary aggregator for news right now is just Google News, even though
same.
I'm starting to question that, Trent, too, because. But one of the things that I saw in response to a story or one of the further articles, if you went more, one of them was literally a Snopes article. It was some news about Ivanka, but it was a Snopes article. Was Ivanka fired from the White House? I'm like, is that even a thing? But apparently it is a piece of false news out there.
Yeah, people are having to look it up.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, what the hell is going on? It just goes to show you it's just nuts. And that's the thing too, and that makes me wonder about the 2018 midterms, because they've already said there are indications there will be manipulation. I just wonder though, do you think that we are any better off now than we were in 2016 to be ready for political propaganda?
You know what, I think we are. Well, I don't know, I can't say. I think I am, because I definitely look at everything with a much more skeptical eye now. One of the best courses I ever took, and the only C I ever got in college, was Intro to Statistics. And the reason I enjoyed it so much was because the professor had an approach of rather than just taking a statistic by what it is, trying to figure out how it could be skewed before you look into the actual numbers. And ever since then, like I've always kind of like carried that thought in any type of information I'm consuming. It's like, okay, this is what it's saying. How could that be skewed? And it's, I don't know. I know I'm more ready for it now. I think also I'm less emotional about it all than I was. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I feel like I will be able to go into like our upcoming cycle of propaganda with a not a chip on my shoulder as much and a more skeptical eye.
A higher grain of salt that you're going to take everything with.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm
kind of the same way too. I really am, and that's why. But then again, I've got to complain about the media the same way all the time. And not only it's. I still don't think the media is fair. I think it is biased, no matter what direction it chooses to take, and that's only because of like, I'll see articles that are written and they're about one topic, yet they always want to veer in and bring up another one of the hot button items as a way to further example and to further provide an example of something else. And it's like, is there another way you could have done that? I'm not saying that it's not necessarily true, and I'm not saying it is or isn't appropriate, but it just really feels like you're shoehorning this in to kind of purvey an opinion, which I thought journalism isn't supposed to do unless it's in the opinion section.
Right. Well, yeah, and honestly, I'm glad you brought that up, because for me now, I am more prone to vote with my, I can't say dollars because we're getting it all for free, but with my clicks than I have in the past. Whereas if you burn me once, sorry, I'm not going back. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
And I think that is what it's going to take as a culture to really get back into journalism with integrity that can also thrive monetarily. Because right now, neither can work.
Well, and I think, too, that the other thing that the media hasn't done a good enough job with, and now I really am appearing like a broken record, but believe it or not, I got a way that we can buttonhole this whole experience into one wonderful end, so bear with me there. But one of the things that I think that disappoints me is that I don't think there's a wide enough understanding from the public's perspective on what the media does to vet the information they report on.
Right.
And I think All the President's Men it was interesting because even though it's a very old story, it does have very strong parallels to today. But it also shows the lengths that a journalist sometimes may go to either get an approval, a lack of a denial, if you will. So because they're not denying, I can run with it. So what I'm saying is I really think that it would be much better if there was a way for the public to understand more what they do to make sure that they what does the mainstream media do to ensure truth in reporting, for example, right? Yeah. Because it's everything you see, and this is the reason why the Trump narrative is able to work as well, is because they're able to only cite unnamed sources because they're not authorized to speak on it. Right. So because you're assigning that clandestine or shaded an identification, it allows another side to say they're making it up. So, there's some things aren't balanced there. But I have to tell you, the weird thing for me that happened during Kevin's heart attack experience was and I kind of got a kick out of this one in a way after the fact. A lot of the stuff that goes on the website for smodcast.com, well, not a lot of the stuff, but regular updates on there happen because of things we organize. And I had this very troubling moment when, I knew everything was going to be okay because I received a message saying he's alive and tweeting, which is probably the best response you want to get for Kevin Smith. And then it was the thing of, it almost seems disingenuous for smodcast.com to have a news section and not have something about this.
Totally.
That's kind of like, I don't know what it's like. It's basically like the website being in denial. In a way, I mean, and forgive me for saying, but it would different conversation entirely if things had gone the other direction as well, because it would have been like, what do we do? Yeah. But in this case, with everything going on, it was like the quick decision though. Do we do something about this? Which is why there are things on the website, but you'll notice they're very, very minimal. And so, first thing I got to say is thank you to Trent for pitching in at the last moment and putting together that first article in a way that is far superior to anything I could have done. So thank you for that.
Oh, I mean, it just, you're welcome.
Yeah. And then, also thank you to the Facebook engineers for making it easy to embed their videos so that way we could do the second article as well.
Totally.
So that was nice. So those things are available if you haven't caught any of the stuff up until that point. But, the story continues. The smartest thing is just to follow Kevin on social media and you can get all the information. But that was I mean, thankfully you were a good soundboard because I was at the point where I'm like, is this appropriate to do? Should we do this? And you're just like, oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, you'd be wrong not to.
Yeah, pretty much. And so, that makes me feel a little better. Just a little bit. All right. Yeah. Well, hey, man, even though I could keep talking, unfortunately, I have a plane to get on.
Yeah, you got a plane to catch, man.
Well, I have a plane to leave for in 3 hours and 15 minutes, but that's 3 hours and 15 minutes I should really be with my family as much as possible. So
Yes.
But hey, we were able to do this. If you don't follow me on Twitter, NetheadWW, you can hear the mystery story of the rebuilt computer that suddenly died and then resuscitated again. I don't know why. Have you had anything like that happen? It's been a long time since I had a system act sketchy like that.
Yeah, no, it's been a long time, and in fact, and it took a lot of troubleshooting because it was so infrequent. But it was the power source problem I had. So there you go.
Yeah, see, and I replaced the power supply, and then I guess I could really summarize this. Really, power supply died, replaced power supply, had a spare power supply laying around. Machine wouldn't turn on again. Disconnected everything, wouldn't turn on. Took the spare power supply, hooked it up, got response. Double-checked all my wires, plugged everything for shits and giggles with the power supply that had already replaced and suddenly it works. So I don't know.
Whatever.
I think Simon Fisher 7 or something on Twitter is his handle, and he's just like, oh, the wonderful response of, I don't know, it works, that, as the cure that never lasts. So
Right.
so that one's a ticking time bomb, I guess, but it's one I can ride with as long as it. Because, me, I'm always just looking at the most economical option. I will tell you, though, I did take a piece of OBS that's a little bit bigger than the tower, and I put it underneath the tower, so now it's resting on something other than carpet for better airflow for the power
there
supply.
You go. Yeah.
Little things you never think about
Yeah.
till you think about them.
So you think about them, then you do.
Thank you, Captain Obvious, Will. That's my job. Anyway, man, so I got to go be with my family and stuff, but it was great talking to you. I'll make sure I actually will get this out tonight as long as the internet connectivity on the airport is good enough.
Yeah, or don't, whatever. It's fine.
I'd rather it get out because, last thing, if something goes wrong, we got to get the message out. Right?
Right.
You can't stop the signal. That's what Joss Whedon taught me.
Blink twice. Right.
No, don't blink. Blink or you're dead.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Sasha, my bad.
No, that's holding your breath, dude.
Oh, sorry, I get them confused.
It's okay. Until next time, folks, my name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
And we will be back
soon.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. Signing off. I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it. NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.
Dude, I just realized something.
What?
You were dropping some major science, and you were like, hey, people, if you want to feel good, this new album dropped.
Oh, my gosh.
And we didn't even talk about it here.
Yeah. And just check out Andrew W. Clay's new album, and if you cry, it's okay.
It's okay.
But you'll want to party the whole time.
Party while you cry?
Dude, you'll see. You'll see.
Well, if nothing else, at least we got a show title. Party while you cry.
We should be so lucky.
Wait, no, that's the old news theme. Evac. No, quit laughing. Shh.